Ever wondered why the story of Cain and Abel has been told and retold for thousands of years? Why does it continue to captivate us today? From the earliest pages of the Bible, we encounter these two brothers, sons of Adam and Eve, whose lives mark significant turning points in human history. Their story, filled with rivalry, sacrifice, and divine intervention, offers a wealth of lessons for us to ponder. In this video, we'll dive deep into the story of Cain and Abel and explore what lessons we can learn from them. Adam and Eve had two sons. Their firstborn was Cain, a farmer, and their second son was Abel, a shepherd. In the early chapters of the Bible, we encounter the story of the first family on earth. Adam and Eve, after their departure from the Garden of Eden, were blessed with two sons. Their firstborn, Cain, chose the earth as his domain. He became a farmer, working tirelessly under the sun, tending to the fields, sowing seeds, and reaping the fruits of his labor. He was steadfast, patient, and rooted, much like the crops he cultivated. Their second son, Abel, took a different path. He became a shepherd, living a nomadic life under the open skies. Abel spent his days among the flock, guiding them to green pastures and still waters. He was gentle, compassionate, and free-spirited, much like the sheep he cared for. Despite being brothers, Cain and Abel were as different as the sun and the moon. Cain, the elder, was grounded and strong, embodying the resilience of the earth. Abel, the younger, was gentle and kind, reflecting the tranquility of the sky. Yet, they were both children of Adam and Eve, sharing the same lineage and the same legacy. The brothers, although close in age, led distinctly different lives due to their chosen professions. Their paths diverged, setting the stage for a story that would echo through the ages, a story of faith, sacrifice, and divine justice. As we continue to explore these significant biblical narratives, we'd like to take a moment to extend an invitation. If you find value in our content and wish to contribute to our growth, please consider to subscribe our channel. Your support will help this small channel flourish and allow us to produce more videos that share the word of the Lord. Your participation, whether it is through liking, sharing, or subscribing, is immensely appreciated and helps us continue our mission. Thank you for being a part of this journey. One day, both brothers decided to give an offering to God, but not all offerings are created equal. Cain, the tiller of the ground, brought forth an offering of the fruits of the soil. It was a bounty that he had toiled for, the product of his labor. However, it wasn't the choicest of his crop. On the other hand, Abel, the keeper of the sheep, offered up the firstlings of his flock and of the fat thereof. It was the best of what he had, the first and finest of his flock, a demonstration of his sincere devotion to God. Now, offerings to God are not just about the physical gifts. They are symbolic, a reflection of one's heart and intentions. Abel's offering was accepted by God, not just for its physical value, but for the love and sacrifice it represented. Abel's heart was in the right place. His offering was a manifestation of his reverence, gratitude, and love towards God. It was an act of faith and worship, a testament to his relationship with his Creator. In contrast, Cain's offering, though bountiful, lacked the sincerity and reverence that Abel's had. It was merely a ritual, an obligation fulfilled, not an act of love or devotion. God, who sees the heart and knows the intentions, was not pleased with Cain's offering. It wasn't about the physical gift, but about the heart behind it. God's reaction to the offerings was a clear message. He values sincerity over abundance, quality over quantity, and the spirit of the gift over the gift itself. It's not about what you give, but how and why you give it. This divine preference didn't sit well with Cain. He was deeply upset that his offering was not accepted while his younger brother's was. This rejection was a blow to his pride and sparked a flame of jealousy in his heart. He felt slighted, overlooked, and his ego bruised. But instead of introspecting and understanding where he went wrong, he allowed this flame of jealousy to consume him, setting the stage for a tragic turn of events. God was pleased with Abel's sincere offering, but was not with Cain's. This sparked a flame of jealousy in Cain's heart. Overwhelmed by jealousy, Cain committed an unthinkable act. Imagine a serene day, the sun shining high in the sky, but this tranquility was about to be shattered. Cain, the older brother, the tiller of the ground, the firstborn, found himself consumed by jealousy and rage. His brother Abel, the shepherd, the favored one, had received God's blessing for his offering. Cain's heart was seething with resentment. The resentment grew, festering within him like a wound. It was a potent cocktail of bitterness and envy, a powerful force driving him towards a devastating decision. The seeds of malice were sown, and Cain allowed them to take root. He let the anger cloud his judgment and dictate his actions. One fateful day, Cain called Abel out to the field. The birds were singing, oblivious to the impending doom. Cain, fueled by his resentment, lashed out. Unleashing his rage, he struck Abel, his own flesh and blood. The blow was fatal. Abel, the innocent shepherd, fell to the ground, his life force ebbing away. The field, once a place of serene beauty, was now a scene of horror. The first death, the first murder, had occurred. The very ground that Cain tilled absorbed Abel's blood, a chilling testament to his heinous act. What followed was silence, a chilling, deafening silence that echoed the enormity of what had just transpired. Cain stood there, his brother's life extinguished by his own hands. What had been done could not be undone. The repercussions of his actions would echo throughout eternity. In his anger and envy, Cain committed the first murder in human history, taking the life of his own brother. This event marked a tragic turning point in the early chapters of humanity's story. It served as a stark reminder of the destructive power of jealousy and resentment, and the devastating consequences that can follow when these emotions are left unchecked. God, being all-knowing, confronted Cain about his heinous act. In the wake of the world's first murder, the omniscient Creator didn't turn a blind eye. Instead, he sought out Cain, asking him about his brother, Abel. In a tone tinged with sorrow rather than anger, God asked, "Where is Abel, your brother?" Cain, in his defiance, responded with a question of his own, "Am I my brother's keeper?" This was not a mere question, but an act of rebellion, an attempt to deflect responsibility for his actions. Yet God, being the embodiment of truth, was not swayed by Cain's evasion. God confronted Cain directly, revealing his knowledge of the terrible crime. He said, "What have you done? The voice of your brother's blood is crying to me from the ground." The ground, which had swallowed Abel's innocent blood, was now a witness to Cain's guilt. Then came the judgment. God didn't smite Cain or end his life as Cain had ended Abel's. Instead, God pronounced a sentence that was a direct consequence of Cain's actions. He said, "Now you are cursed from the earth, which has opened its mouth to receive your brother's blood from your hand. When you cultivate the ground, it will no longer yield its strength to you. You will be a wanderer on the earth." This was a punishment fitting for a farmer. The very ground that Cain had worked, the soil he had tilled, would now resist him. His labor would be fruitless, his efforts in vain. And more than that, Cain was to be a wanderer, a fugitive, forever restless. But even in his judgment, God showed mercy. When Cain voiced his fear of being killed, God placed a mark on him, a sign of divine protection, ensuring that no one would take his life in revenge. Cain was marked by God and sent away, forced to live a life of wandering. This was God's judgment, a blend of justice and mercy, a clear message of the consequences of sin, yet infused with a glimmer of hope for redemption. The story of Cain and Abel is more than just a tale of two brothers. It's a story of choices, consequences, and the human condition. The narrative of Cain and Abel, sons of Adam and Eve, is a profound reflection of the human heart's complexities. Their story begins with birth, a symbol of hope and new beginnings. However, it quickly delves into the darker aspects of human nature, revealing the destructive power of envy and anger. Cain, the elder brother, a tiller of the ground, and Abel, the younger, a shepherd, brought offerings to God. Abel's offering, given with a sincere heart, was accepted. Cain's, however, was not. Here we perceive the critical importance of sincerity in our offerings to God. It isn't about the physical gift, but the intention behind it. The rejection of his offering led Cain to harbor a deep-seated jealousy towards Abel, eventually culminating in the first act of murder in human history. This tragic incident is a poignant reminder of the dangers of unchecked negative emotions. Jealousy, when left unaddressed, can lead to unthinkable actions, causing irreparable harm not only to others but also to our own soul. Yet even in the aftermath of such an atrocious act, God reached out to Cain, offering him a chance for redemption. This shows us God's unending mercy and his desire for us to learn, grow, and better ourselves, even when we falter. In essence, the story of Cain and Abel serves as a mirror, reflecting our own strengths and weaknesses. It teaches us about the importance of sincerity in our actions, the destructive power of unchecked emotions, and the redeeming power of God's mercy. So as we navigate through our own lives, let's remember the lessons embedded in this ancient tale. Let's strive to curb our negative emotions, to act sincerely in all that we do, and to remember that even in our darkest moments, redemption is always within reach. May we take these lessons to heart, learning to curb our negative emotions and to act sincerely in all that we do.